Now, y'all seen Brandon Marshall have a conversation, and he was breaking it down, but this thing just won't go away. Now, why am I so intrigued with this? Well, A, it comes back to the money. B, it actually is a reflection of what it is that we deal with as content creators on a much smaller level than what it is that they dealing with as famous NFL athletes turned content creators. They deal with the same thing that we deal with. They deal with the repercussions. They deal with the problems of mixing friends and business. People don't understand the business, and now it's going back and forth. And so a lot of people always say, well, how come groups never stay together? Content creators never rock out with each other long term. People that came into the game, eventually they break off and go off and do their own thing. Well, this is an example of it. So y'all see me break down Brandon Marshall the other day. And now you are seeing Channing Crowder and all of the dudes that used to be a part of I Am Athlete. They are going on different platforms, including Cam Newton's platform, and they telling their side of the story again. And as we continue to hear these different things mined out, now we starting to hear more details come out, and it allows for us to be able to make more informed decisions as a result of what it is that we see happening in society. So make sure y'all subscribe to the channel, hit your notifications. I want to break this down, and then get your Teach pack. Let's rock out.
Why didn't it work out? How did Ryan Clark, replace a figure
What is going on with Cam's hair?
that wasn't normally there 2 to 3 years ago?
I can say this, Ryan didn't replace a figure. Ryan is here because Ryan is here for who he is. And I can say this also, with whatever we did on the other side, this is my opinion, and it ain't hate, this is my 1000% me.
Yes, sir.
No.
Whenever a dude lead off with saying, and this is my opinion, and this ain't hate, he about to say something spicy.
No hate and no funny shit. I believe Ryan is a bigger asset for us than anybody that was ever on the other platform. That's just my thought.
When people start saying stuff like the other platform or them guys over there, just call it for what it is. Like we don't know who you're talking about. You're talking about Brandon Marshall and all of them, right? When people start saying them guys over there, and I don't want to mention their name, like we don't know who you're talking about. Like we didn't just break down exactly what happened prior to that. I'm reading Super Chat shortly. Shout out to my dog, Angry Man, in the building.
Us, who is us?
For the pivot.
Okay.
And what we're doing. This is our thing, and and I always tell people, Ryan's amazing on his day job, which is ESPN, obviously.
Right.
But he's equally as great here on the pivot.
Right.
And I'll say that tenfold, over and over and over. So when you say replace, I don't like to look at it that way, because we are blessed and fortunate to have Ryan rock with us. And truthfully, we talk about ego. There was big egos on that side. I've never been that way, you know me.
Right.
Never been a narcissist, right? And
I think that the word narcissist is probably one of the most overused words, to be honest with you. Just because a person don't agree with you or just because they stand on a square, it does not mean that they're a narcissist. I think the word narcissist is quite possibly the most, in 2022, and we need to figure out how to kill that word in 2023 because it is really, really just not going away. I can't stand when the people use the word narcissist out of context. It's one of the most overused words out here today. So just because somebody don't agree with you or just because they put you on the game and then you got pushed out or whatever like that, it doesn't mean that they're a narcissist. It just means that they stood on a square. It doesn't mean you're a narcissist.
It was just a moment where the business would never button up. And sometimes that happens. But I know you, and I know if that were a situation, if we all started this Funky Friday together,
Right.
You would look at it and say, all right, I know what my people bring to the table.
Right.
Like you just mentioned a second ago, you got to know who are your assets and who are liabilities. You got to know who's helping you to be great as a quarterback. You're going to go out there and you're going to fight for the Panthers, for purposes of just using any team to say, I need Steve Smith to be paid X, Y, Z. I'm going to fight for him, right?
I disagree with him 100%. I disagree with him 100%. And here's why. This is why, and I say this all the time, this is why you cannot, in most instances, go into business without having the business buttoned up with people that you cool with. You cannot go into business with people that you cool with without having the business buttoned up. Because now somebody gonna feel a certain type of way. Because when the money come, money fuck up everything. Money is a blessing and money can be a curse too. Money is a blessing and money can absolutely be a curse too. Because the things that y'all was friends about, nobody had to worry about being friends, or nobody had to worry about the friendship aspect of it because there was no business to be done. See, it's easy for the people that's on the field, for example. Let's say you got the guys that's on the court, or you got the guys that's on the football field and whatever, so on and so forth, right? And what happens is nobody is tripping because nobody got anything that they got to argue over with regard to the money, right? Nobody got to advocate. You ain't got to give me a slice of the pie, all of this other type of stuff, right? The owners are the people that then become the villains because then they say, why you ain't paying me, or why you ain't recognizing my greatness. Then they start having those same conversations that modern women have, right? They start having those type of conversations. And then people feel a certain type of way. And it's very difficult to then do business with people because eventually, when the money get involved, you start seeing the character of who people truly are, right? Then they feel like you should have advocated for me to get my bag. No, you should have advocated to get your own bag. And don't feel a certain type of way when that bag ain't come the way that you thought it was because you didn't have the business side of it buttoned up. Even when I have conversations with people, right? I remember when me and JR first really started having traction with the Lapeef network, the thing that I told him, the very first thing that I told him before we ever had a conversation about business, ownership, contracts, or anything like that, I told him, I said, listen, right now, I want you to remove the friendship hat and I want you to put on your business hat. Remove the friendship hat and let's put on the business hat because, there is no feelings from me when it comes to doing business. I completely remove how it is that I see you from a friendship perspective, and I look at it completely from a business perspective. Straight up.
Right? Because I know he's going to.
And shout out to So Original. Shout out to all of the new bag chasers and the Patreon members. Make sure y'all tap into the Discord. Also, link is in the description of any of the most recent videos inside of the Patreon. We're going to get to y'all. A round of applause for all of the Patreon members.
Help me, and he's going to help us. That wasn't the case. It became
one-dimensional.
Me. And there are some things that are out there that makes it seem like the podcast was valued at this and we weren't happy with, what we were getting, which is, I guess, a cut. None of that was ever spoke about. That was never, ever talked about. So this $11 million, this other, that's all bullshit at the end of the day.
So you felt like you had to make a better decision in the career.
Is he saying that Brandon Marshall saying that he spent $10 million on a podcast is BS?
That was healthier for you as a person?
The decision that was made was on business, this ain't adding up and this don't make sense. And for the vision to pivot itself without us being talked to, because it was just a podcast.
Yes.
But somehow it became, a marketing arm for said business. And that wasn't really what it was deemed to be at the very beginning. It was, let's do a podcast, all right, bet. And then we got good at it. People, start tapping in and checking us out, and then it grew. And then when you have certain, individuals that would say, damn, this could be lucrative. I'm gonna take all of this, right? So that's how it happened. But we kept.
So it sounds like the money that he's saying that he spent was not necessarily on the podcast itself, but it was on continuing to brand himself in order to build other business as a result of it. And then he wanted to try to finesse them. This is what they saying about Brandon Marshall. He wanted to finesse them into thinking that, okay, no, the podcast was really just a marketing arm for the other businesses, and that it's just an umbrella. The umbrella company, the podcast is just one part of it. If you want a part of this, then I spent 10, $11 million as a result of it. When the money get funny.
Going to the table, and me personally, I'm not going to speak for Chan, but me personally, from inception to the point where it all broke up, it was well noted and known that all of my sweat equity, talent fee, everything's been rolled back into the pot. So from the beginning to the very end, if you put dollars in, my dollars match your dollars side by side.
Yes, sir.
Because that's sweat. But at the end of the day, if this is
No. See, this is where we disagree. Your sweat equity does not exactly come up to the same calculation of how much money I actually put in to build this thing. Listen, your sweat equity is not the same as me actually putting real money into it. I'm going to just be honest with you. Listen, I could see where you're making some points, and then I could see where some other points fall flat. You're not going to sit here and tell me that your sweat equity is the exact same equivalent and you deserve the exact same amount as what it is that I put into starting this thing from the very beginning. Nope, I'm not going for it.
Let's just say if it's $1 million valuation on the podcast, and if I put in, let's just say 50 grand.
Right.
And if you put in, let's say 100 grand, mathematically, I should have a third ownership.
Right. It's a partnership.
I don't know where these dudes is getting. Listen, a lot of these guys need to go back to business school, honestly. A lot of these people need to go back to business school because the math ain't mathing. The math is not mathing for me. Real talk, the math ain't mathing for me. And I think one of the problems for me is that they using hypotheticals instead of actually using real numbers. They're using hypotheticals instead of using real numbers. Now, this is the way I translate it to be. Whatever it is that we agreed on in the beginning is what we agreed on. Now, let's say, for example, let's use the same numbers. Let's say I put 100,000 in and you put 50,000 in, right? Then that means that when we recoup, because that doesn't mean that you should get a third, that just means that you put in 50,000. So you get your 50,000 back, I get my 100,000 back, and then after the profit, we need to figure out exactly what these contracts look like in order for us to be able to be successful. And that's why you got to have your paperwork together in the very beginning. That's why you got to have your paperwork together in the beginning. Recouping don't necessarily mean that you have an equal partnership. Verbal agreements matter. Handshake agreements matter. Written agreements are better. Verbal agreements matter. Handshake agreements matter as long as you can prove that you actually did that. But written agreements are better.
Right?
That's a partnership.
Not revenue split, not all this other bullshit, but from not profit sharing, from equity ownership.
Correct.
That's easy math, not 5%. It's more like 27%.
Yes, sir.
So that's why I'm here with the pivot. And we weren't gonna do another podcast. We just said, man, this ain't right. We're gonna leave this. And whatever happened after that is gonna happen. And that's the real shit that we never really, it's more. People are a whole lot of stuff. But we try not to get messy. But when you see the other side attempting to take the high road, but it comes out as bullshit, then you got to come out and say, you know what? That ain't all the way true.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It might be some truth sprinkled.
That watch is hitting. I'm going to give him that. That watch is hitting.
In there, but the 11 million, that's what you probably put in the gym, but you didn't put that in the podcast. It wasn't nowhere near.
I agree with that. He got a point right there. I'm not going into when I heard Brandon Marshall say he put in 10 million on the other show, Come on, bro. Come on, bro. I believe that he's telling the absolute truth. I believe that he feels that they right. And I believe that Brandon Marshall feels like he right. However, I think that people don't really understand how to look at stuff from a business perspective, A. And then B, I also believe that they telling the truth about that whole 10 million, 11 million thing. If you put a bunch of money or you invested in this gym or this whole branding with the gym, the podcast you can't then use the podcast as leverage for that as far as against the people that you're supposed to be doing business with. That's a completely different entity. Yeah, this is wild.
$1 million for no fucking podcast.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying? So
I'm curious. Yeah,
that's just my side. And that's that.
And Freddie and
he just started smiling.
He's funny about
Hey, Channing just started smiling.
like I see what
I'm
you
still dancing around a little bit.
He's still dancing around a little bit, but
that's the gist.
Man, let's keep it funky now.
we don't keep it funky.
Like, that's the name of it. Let's keep it a buck.
I'll tell you this, Cam. You gotta respect your dudes.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta respect. You was cussing. You gotta respect your niggas.
Yeah.
If you and your niggas start something together, the respect has to be there.
Yes, sir.
And you gotta do it. And even on some nigga shit, like Freddie said, if we were to start Funky Friday with us four, and it blows up like it has,
right.
then all love to you, bro. I watch every single episode.
Yes, sir.
When it does blow up, you gonna be like, bruh, it's four of us.
We at the
25,
table.
25, 25,
We at
25.
the table.
No.
We're a team.
Yes, sir.
No. And that's where we all disagree. Because you can't say, because it's not equal risk. And that's what people don't understand. You don't just give 25, 25, 25, 25. And that's not mathing for me. Because I have to take more risk as far as what it is that I'm investing. If I built the studio, right? Let's say I built the studio or I've been building this platform or whatever, right? And that's why I pay people or I take care of business and I'm always on top of things, or I might, like Charleston or whatever. Like I pay people a very nice sum of money that they agree to, or I might even give them extra. I'll be sending money, bonuses, all kind of stuff, right? Even without it, because it's mine, bro. I built this. This is my platform. If I invest all of this different money into the process, I built the studio, I'm live streaming every day or whatever, so on and so forth, and then you with me and it blow up, what makes you think you deserve 50% of it just because of it? Because you didn't take equal risk. Okay, so if it don't blow up, do I get a check from you for all of the money that I invested in it in order to ensure that it was successful, but it wasn't successful? Because I'm going to be honest with you. It's been a lot of businesses where I don't want a partner because I don't want you to feel a certain type of way if it doesn't hit, right? I'm willing to fail on my own, but are you willing to fail with me? Because every business ain't going to be successful. Every business ain't going to hit. You're not going to be able to sell it. You're not going to be able to get out of it. You don't have an exit strategy, all of this other type of stuff, right? And so if it fails, are you willing to take the hit along with me? And if you're not willing to take the hit with me, then how do you deserve an equal partnership in it when it's not? That's just like man, this is wild. This is wild.
A partnership.
We gotta cut it up.
Yes,
we gotta pay the overhead, whatever you pay for these cameras, for these producers, pay that, and then whatever the net is, anybody knows money is net and gross.
Mm-hmm.
No.
So pay that.
What about risk? What about that? It's not that simple. It's not that simple. Right? That's why men often at times in relationships say, no, you're not going to see me at the end of at the finish line and then get married to me and then think that you deserve half of what it is that I built. No. Because I took the risk. I'm the person that decided that I wanted to go into this field. I'm the person that started the business or whatever like that. You can't have my shit. No. People be coming in all the time and they jump on the panel and all of a sudden they start feeling entitled to stuff. And I'll be like, yo, what the fuck you talking about? I'm doing you a favor and giving you more visibility as a result of you jumping on my panel. I do shit for free all the time. Do I then deserve a portion of what it is that I decided to do for free in order to continue to bring visibility to your platform because it blew up? No, I don't. I don't deserve anything. The only thing I deserve is if I negotiated an upfront fee or whatever it is that I deserve. You get what you negotiate, not what it is that you think that you owe. This is how black people do business. Black people do business based off of their feelings. They don't do business based off of what makes the most sense.
And then that's net. That's what your net brought in. From there, us four should profit. And we should cut it up. And that's where we went wrong, is where we weren't going to cut up the net. Oh, I bought the cameras. Oh, I paid the producers. Oh, I paid this. Pay everybody. And when this final check comes in, let's cut it up 4 ways.
What do you mean pay everybody? And then when the check come in, cut it 4 ways? No, nope. We own completely. So you did all the investment, and then you did all the investment, and then you got to pay everybody, and then now when the check come in, now we gonna split it 4 ways. Where the fuck they do that at? Hoppo, where they do that at? Where? I ain't never heard of nothing like that in my entire life. I ain't never heard of nothing like that in my entire life. You came with the idea. You paid for the cameras. You paid for the producers. You paid for the editors. You paid for everything. And now we supposed to split everything 4 ways. What? Let me rewind what he just said real quick. Just let me make sure.
And then that's net. That's what your net brought in. From there, us four should profit. And we should cut it up. And that's where we went wrong, is where we weren't going to cut up the net. Oh, I bought the cameras. Oh, I paid the producers. Oh, I paid this. Pay everybody. And when this final check comes in, let's cut it up 4 ways.
Yeah.
Reggie Wayne was a part of it. Reggie Wayne got out of there because he saw that the pot wasn't going to get cut right.
That was the first thing Reg said.
That was the first thing Reg said. He's not going to cut the pot right. Ocho comes in.
Ocho don't care about the business. He do a
Ocho's
million
not
things.
worried about that. Ocho is going to be Ocho. You know what I'm saying? Ocho going to be, and I love Ocho.
Got his own brand.
We just ate dinner. We was dinner with the wives the other night.
Yes, sir.
Down there on South Beach. And Ocho going to be Ocho. Ocho
Right.
going to do him. But Ocho came on our podcast already. But you have to cut up the business right. And that's what I know with these fellas, to get back to the good side of it, is that we have a set thing, is that we are the 3 owners of the pivot. And we make every decision together.
Yes, sir.
And we pay.
Yeah, but y'all established that in the very beginning. Y'all established that in the very beginning.
And we pay our producers.
That's
Because that you say pay the producer, ain't nobody get paid.
right.
That's just the real
The
shit.
thing,
Pay everybody, and we make every decision that we want to do, whatever we want to
Right.
do. Coming up here, they said Cam's available now. And we got on the text thread and said, shit, bro, we got to slide to Atlanta because
Let's rock
Cam's
and roll.
available.
Yeah.
And we made that decision together, and we're going to profit off that decision together.
Yes, sir.
The show that you did with us
Yes, sir.
is going to do numbers.
Yes, sir.
And we're going to be right there to profit off the numbers together.
Right.
A lot of people don't even really understand how much YouTubers make. I think a lot of these people are disillusioned as to what it is that you really generate from a revenue perspective. And so they don't really know the true costs that come along with it. But they gonna learn. They gonna learn. They gonna learn today. They talking about the show that y'all did. It's gonna do numbers. And we gonna bust it down and make money. I don't think that most people really understand how to look at most things from a business perspective, but that's just me.